International. I'm your host, Suveera Kushnur. I'll be hosting Legal Talks on PWI Global Vision, a new channel on YouTube on behalf of Pen Wonders International. PWI is a coven of brilliant writers across the globe who share a common passion for writing prose and poetry. So every Sunday on my show, I will bring to you some excellent poets across the globe who will share their journey with me. So without wasting much time, let me introduce our guest for the evening. Our esteemed guest for today is Sudha Dixit ji. She's an eminent poet and her poems, let me say, have a magical touch. Sudha ji has been born and brought up in UP and presently resides in Bengaluru. She is an avid poet and also a painter. Her quilts have been featured in various e-magazines and print media. She has received numerous awards on more than 500 FB groups, which is a huge accomplishment, I must say. Congratulations, Sudha ji. Sudha ji not only dabbles in English but is also a writer in Hindi and Urdu. Her poems in Urdu and Hindi also have found place in many books. Without much ado, let me bring to you my inspiration, Sudha Dixit ji. Welcome, Sudha ji. Good evening. Hope you're doing good.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for inviting me, Suveera.
So, Sudha ji, how was it that what made you write poems? What is it? What was that stimulus, I must say, what was it? I mean, every poet has some story. I would like to hear your story.
In one word, I would say it was loneliness.
Okay.
You know, a loner can do many things, but mostly a sensitive loner becomes a poet.
Okay.
Because that was in my childhood. Although we were a house full of people, we were 8 siblings.
Yes.
4 brothers and 4 sisters. And besides my aunts, uncles, my father was very fond of calling people at home and all that. Despite that, somehow I was lonely because I was in the middle. The sisters were much elder to me and, younger to me were my brothers. Now brothers, they don't play with girls and sisters were too old and they said, you are a kid.
Okay.
So the resultant is that I was lonely. So I used to chase butterflies alone. I used to talk to plants, trees. And whenever we were a whole family, of course, those days, whole family used to go out together, not alone. Wherever we go, invited for either for dinner or lunch or some function, the whole family will go. And that was the Tonga days.
Okay.
I'm an ancient Pashad Yug. I'm from a Stone Age. And Tonga means 4 or 5 people in that, and they will be talking to themselves, and I will be just thinking, if it is daytime, I will be looking at the, running away plants on rivers on the side.
Okay.
Because those days the roads were very quite, decent, not crowded.
Okay.
And if it was night, I would look at the stars and the moon and all that.
Okay.
And just keep thinking. So I became a sort of philosopher. And then I would compose poems and keep repeating them so that I remember that, because you can't write.
Yeah.
And after the function is over, we come home and I would go run to my room and write down whatever I remembered. Okay. Then we will. So from childhood, I had been writing poems.
Wow.
That is it.
So that I must say, I am in awe of your work. I mean, fabulous you write. They have a magical touch. So how has your journey actually transformed your life? I mean, what would you say?
See, the journey was very normal. Like particularly when you are too many. Had I been an only child or something, I would have been rather privileged or something. But that was not so.
Okay.
So in a crowd, nobody paid attention to anybody, not only me. You are all ignored. Take care of yourself, unless you are hurt or something.
Okay.
So since I was lonely, I took and girls were not allowed to go out. without
Yes.
any escort or something. So
Yes.
we will do combined study. That too, I will go. My father was a judge, so we will
Okay.
go with the peon. He
Okay.
will wait there, or if we say no, we will take 2-3 hours, so he will come back and then come back again to take me back home.
Okay.
But after 5 o'clock, we were not allowed to go out.
Okay.
Now the thing is, when if you are not daily, we can't go. We can go once a week or once in 15 days. Every day, why do you want to go out every day? That was the
Okay.
thing.
So
No.
you took refuge in your poetry.
Not only poetry, initially it was in books, because that was one thing. My father was very particular, and we all of our brothers, sisters, we are fond of reading. And father, he didn't give us many clothes and shoes and all that. That was luxury, but he gave us many books, magazines, newspaper, and even prominent novels he would buy.
Okay. Okay.
Although, I mean, he was not very rich. Being an officer is one thing, you have power. But those days you were not rich. Nowadays they are rich, all judges, collectors, and everybody. But
Yeah.
those days it was
Yeah.
only your status.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's beside the point. But we got many things, and there was plenty of time. No television, nothing. Radio was confined to a particular time. A whole day you can't really listen to radio. So entertainment was only books. And
Okay.
children books were very fascinating, Chanda Mama and all. Of
I
course,
know.
my journey started with vernacular Hindi.
Okay.
English came much later.
Okay.
So, but they were beautiful. The Chanda Mama is still I would like to read, because beautiful and ethical stories. It's a,
Achha.
I would say that this is a book that every child should read.
I'll
It
surely make
educates
my
you, not only.
daughter. I said I'll surely make my
I
daughter
would say
read.
that.
Yeah.
Sure, please, because it not only uh, entertains you, it educates you, it gives you a moral this thing teaching. So anyway, besides that, many other things. Then I got this thing, entry into my father's office,
Okay.
home office, the room in which he used to do his legal work and all that. And he
Okay.
had many almiras. One was full of this type of books, fiction and religious and all that.
Okay.
And I was engrossed in those books, not legal books. I mean, I was a kid,
Yeah.
just 9-year-old, 10-year-old later. But
Okay.
when my father, Papa, we used to call him Papa, when he saw that I am interested in reading, it is the safest. You don't have to guide your child if he's fond of reading. Otherwise, you have to keep an eye on the child that should not go astray, should not बिगड़ ना जाए कहीं.
Yeah.
बोले ये
Yeah.
तो कहाँ बिगड़ेगी, बेचारी किताब पढ़ती है. He gave me the key to his office, and several hours I would spend in his office reading the book, sitting on the floor,
Okay.
open almirah and keep reading.
Okay.
That gave me one advantage, that when I joined school, I became a topper, because
Oh.
I knew much more than other kids of my age. That
Okay.
was an advantage of
Okay.
reading. And father was very good. You ask any question, he would answer. He said, ask question, that is how you learn. He never
Yeah.
said, hey, don't do this, pareshan mat karo, usse pucho mat. Nahi, he was there for us. So that was that. Then till we reached 6, 7. When I reached class 6, we got admission into, permission into library. Usse pehle nahi thi.
Okay.
Library means all fiction. And my elder sister, much elder, she told me, Are, you have got the library card? You will bring the book which I tell you to bring. I said, why should you? कहते नहीं 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 नहीं, हम अच्छी किताब पढ़ेंगे और तुम भी वही पढ़ना. No problem. And I got all adult books, that Premchand. When I was
Okay.
in 6, mind you, Premchand, Bankim Chand, Sharat Chandra, Rabindranath
Wow.
Tagore,
Wow.
all those, all those writers of 50s. It was a 50s time.
Yeah.
Eminent writers of 50s. You won't believe in that 1 year, their fictional work I have read all. Not non-fiction. Obviously, our 12-year-old will not read the non-fiction.
Yeah.
But fiction biographies I have read all in Hindi.
Okay.
The Bengali literature also translated in Hindi.
Wow.
So that was an advantage. And then in Allahabad, when my father was posted in Allahabad, our school, DP College, was very close to Mahadevi Verma's house.
Okay.
We never saw Mrs. Mahadevi Verma, but we used to get that Dharmyug in our house. All
Okay.
magazines, Chanda Mama, Dharmyug, Saptahik Hindustan,
Okay.
Illustrated Weekly, some English, but mostly
Okay.
in Dharmyug, Mahadevi Verma, she was very much alive, very active, and she
Okay.
used to write her poems with a painting, like
Oh.
Priya Sandhe Gagan Mera Jeevan. There will be an evening and a face.
Okay.
Obviously, those days it was Chayavadi, concept.
Okay.
And then on the painting there would be poem. I loved that, and I was much inspired by Mahadevi Verma.
Ah,
And
now I see. Now I see why your poems have those vivid imagery described. That's the secret to it, I must say.
yeah, and then in that is class, I reached class 7th, and I started writing in the genre of Mahadevi Verma.
Okay.
I never copied anything. I don't plagiarize. It was my ideas, but it was inspired by Mahadevi Verma, and the
Okay.
style was that same.
Okay.
Those days, those Mahadevi Verma and Ravi Shankar, not Ravi Shankar, uh, all the Chayavadi poets,
Okay.
they used to write in the same genre, same style. That
Okay.
was my style those days.
Okay.
So this is my Hindi book. It
Wow.
contains all the poems, which I wrote
Yes.
at the age of 14, 15, 16, those
I
3 years.
congratulations, I must say. So
And I used to hide my and I used to hide my poems. You feel shy. You can't show you are sensitive and you are loving. That was the age, teenage. Your feelings you can't show to your parents.
Yeah.
So, but uh, what happened? I would just keep writing. My father said always write a diary. So diary had full of quotations, some quotations which I liked, otherwise my poems, and some of the memories, of course, they are also there. And then I kept those diaries nicely. By the time I finished my high school,
Yeah.
I met a friend. I mean, in short, I met a friend in my intermediate 11th class. And
Yeah.
one day the whole class got a punishment. Keep standing. We were shouting too much.
Yeah.
And I kept standing and I kept writing a poem. And then suddenly the pen was there and that paper flew away.
Okay.
Now we were in a punishment, we couldn't do anything. But that girl, her name was Manju, she picked up that paper and she read that it was a poem. Later on, she came to me, she said, "Is this yours?" Yes. "Do you write poem?" "Yes." "Kehti, acha. Next time, please give me all your poems." And at that time, there were many, but they were not all available at that time.
Yeah.
But then I gave her 10, 12 poems. She said, "Give me more. You find out whatever your ancient poems are, say class 7th or 8th, give me that." Yeah, 9th. I said, "Fine." And that girl, my handwriting was very bad because I used to think fast, and writing could not have that speed. So my
Yeah.
handwriting was very bad. I used to Gasita Maro. So
Yeah.
that Manju had a lovely handwriting, and she wrote all my poems, hundreds, in a beautiful diary. And when they crossed 100, maybe more than that, 150 or something, she presented it too.
Wow.
And lovely. I have that diary still with me. So I was really so this thing is that girl did so much for me. So I have dedicated this book to Manju.
That's
And
nice.
later on, I kept writing and hiding because then there was no Manju. Then we got separated. We got posted. Papa got posted somewhere else. We went every 3 years. We will change the city. So
Okay.
obviously, all the friends would be not there. Then got busy in this thing. My father wanted me to become an IAS officer, and obviously that was too much of general knowledge. You have to, besides your class, you have to study a lot, general knowledge and this and that for IAS. So poetry took a back seat. Then I finished my MA and all that, and immediately Papa got me married. I was not prepared for that, but
Okay.
those were the days.
Yes, those were
And
the days.
marriage means everything is on my back foot. You
Yeah.
are only in the kitchen
Uh-huh.
and brain drain down the sink,
Okay.
kitchen sink, sort of. And then children came. Now you just can't do anything. When you bring children, you have to be responsible for them,
I agree.
and you forget your
Yeah.
life,
Yes.
your mission. And there was no mission then. I mean, you either you raise your children or you make a career. And I never wanted my children to be raised by Aya or servant or anything.
Yeah.
So left everything and I catered to my children and all that. But and so what happened in between the every Diwali, cleaning and all that, I wanted to throw away that diary, and those poems became very this thing, disintegrated, I should say, and odd. So many times I wanted to throw that away. I said, oh, all childish thing. What do I do with them? But somehow I could not. I, from inside, I felt, no. We will throw it next year. And I
Okay.
kept. And after that, now when we mature, we got help, cook and all that. I got some time.
Yeah.
Then I said, okay. In between, I worked also as a real estate agent and all that. I mean, all said
So
and done.
I think at that moment you said, let me rekindle my passion that was lost.
Exactly. When you get a comfortable life, so long it was a very struggle, very this thing. Now, after 60, you get comfortable. You get
Yes.
this
Some
respite from the responsibility and other
me
things.
time. Some me time.
Exactly. So, so I started writing because writing was in my blood.
Yeah.
So I started writing. And then I said, let me discover my old diaries. If I want to throw them, let me throw it. But when I read, I said, okay, let me save my poems, then throw the diaries.
Yeah.
So I put them on computer. By that time, I learned computer.
Okay.
Mind you, I learned computer as a senior citizen.
Commendable, I must say.
My children helped me in that. My daughter especially. Okay, mommy, you learn. Otherwise, and it was quite tough at that time, but somehow I managed. And that was great because I could write my poem and save them. And then, what I did was one or two poems I put on Facebook. They got a very good response. That encouraged me. I said, okay, thank God I didn't throw them away.
Yeah.
So let me compile and make a book so that those books, because diary is out of this thing, it has to be thrown. I'm not throwing it now, but anyway, I have to bind it with a ribbon and all that and keep it. It is disintegrated completely. 50 years, you mean, imagine.
Yeah. I can imagine. I want to ask you here, what is your favorite poem, Sudhaji? Like now I've heard, and now if you could narrate that for me and our audience, and I'm sure you will inspire many with your passion.
I will read my Hindi poem later. Actually, fine. I'll show you that book. Where is it? I had kept it here only. Now every time that happens. This is my book of ghazals.
Wow.
As you grow in many ways. From
Yes.
Hindi I grew to Urdu. I don't know Urdu script, but I learned because I'm fond of shairi, particularly Ghalib Mir, old shairs.
Yeah.
So that again, like Mahadevi Verma, she encouraged me for Hindi writing. These great shairs and inspired me to write shairi. So, and when I wrote, people liked it, so I got that book also.
Yeah.
After that, I got this Poetry Planet and other English groups, and they started contest. And I'm very fond of contest and puzzles and riddles and all mental this thing.
Yeah.
So I started participating.
I recently read your. Sorry to interrupt. I recently read your poem on Pen Wonders International, and I really, really loved it.
So then I started writing in English.
So
I
if you
said, if
could,
I'm getting award, why not?
yeah, if you could
And
narrate, if you could narrate
so
one.
but there are some very short poem which I would like to, which Malab, there are many long poems, but who wants to listen to long poems? I will narrate very short ones.
Yeah.
The pain I felt is frozen. The pain I felt is frozen and buried in my heart. The way I laugh and smile is an art.
Wow.
That's it.
Sudhaji, I must say, quite wonderful poems. I think I will have you for my multiple sessions because you inspire many budding writers like me. So, what would be that one last message that you would want to give uh, budding poets, aspiring writers? What would be your message to them?
See, everybody has different talents.
Yes.
Those who write, they have writing inside them.
Yeah.
Some have sports.
Yeah.
So I would only say that in general, keep dreaming and keep dreaming for whatever you are capable of. And
Yeah.
if you want to write, just start writing. No copying. Yeah, you can get inspiration from great poets and writers. It could be essay, it could be fiction, it could be poem.
Yeah.
But use your own thinking, your own thoughts, and keep writing.
Yes.
And with time, it improves.
Yes.
Nobody can teach you how to write. Nobody can teach you. Many people ask me, youngsters ask me, we want to write poem, teach us. I said, nobody can teach you writing poem. It has to come from inside.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Thank you, Sudhaji. It was really a wonderful evening with you. There was so much for me to learn, and it was nice chatting and hearing your story. I'm surely going to have you once again with me on this legal talks. We also had another speaker, Miss Bodgana, but unfortunately, due to some issues, she could not be there. But we are relaying her video. Thank you, Sudhaji, for being a part of this Pen Wonders International, and I'm looking forward
Thank you,
to
Suveera,
meeting.
for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm looking
Yes,
forward to meeting.
definitely. Yeah, because this time the time was taken up by my bios and my introduction. Next time we will do the poetry session.
Sure, Sudhaji. Thank you so much. Stay safe, keep
Thank you so
smiling.
much.
Yeah.